With Oxford then this weekend, I suppose in comparison to MK, who made a whole bunch of signings, Oxford a bit more typical for League One this season in that largely the group of players they've got is the group of players they had last time around.
Yeah, they also had the real positive news last week, Cameron Brannigan extending his contract, which was a big plus for them. Obviously he was on the verge of moving at some point, but he's a big player for them and had real success in the team. Carl's been quite open in saying that they're still looking to add to the squad. They've got 1 or 2 injuries at the moment. They've added a couple in wide areas, but they're certainly looking for 3 or 4 by the sounds of things in terms of additions to the squad. So whether or not they happen for Saturday, or we don't know about them until Saturday, we'll have to wait and see. But in the main, we know roughly the squad that they've got to pick from, going off of the Derby game last week, which we spent a fair bit of time on. And we know how tough it will be. We found that ourselves when we went there last year. We know top team that they are, and the expectation that is on them. You look at our games on paper at the beginning of the season, it's a tough run. So we know what to expect. We know it's a big pitch. We know it will challenge us in lots of ways, but it's one to try and go into and look forward to off the back of a good start so far.
Yeah, 2 really good games against Oxford last season. Opening day, which really set the tone for what was to come, and then in the away match, I suppose wrestling with a lot of the challenges you've touched upon there, where you get one of these promotion chasing sides away from home. They've got their bigger pitch, which they can then utilise and play their football.
Yeah, I mean the home game last year was obviously a great occasion, wasn't it? Because it was the first time back since promotion with fans in the stadium. It was a brilliant atmosphere. It's so hard to judge games in the early part of the season, particularly game 1. I mean, anything can happen anywhere, so you can't look into those first games too much like our game last weekend. Just want to try and take results where you can, so that was important. I actually thought the away game was a really good game, and I thought we played really well. What we weren't able to do was contain them for long enough, or make our moments of quality count enough. And the timing of the goals we conceded hurt us last time. So in the main, I thought it was a really strong performance from us last time. We'll have to be as good with the ball and more clinical this time around, and we'll have to defend brilliantly, because we know they make you defend. We know how much they'll dominate the ball and how big they'll make the pitch, and the struggle and challenge that will give us. But we'll have to be as well prepared as we can, and physically, when you play the top teams away from home on big pitches, you've got to commit to the game and give absolutely everything. It takes a lot, and the ability to make 5 changes will probably come in handy for us at the weekend.
Yeah, with the away games in League One where you're going to this sort of club, obviously it's extremely difficult, but you seem to be making good progress in that area with the wins over Ipswich and Wigan towards the back end of last season. Did you see that as a sense of development with dealing with that sort of challenge?
Maybe. I think the team definitely developed throughout last season in lots of ways. This is a new starting point for us. We've got to try and do that again. It'll be the first time we've played on the bigger pitch for a while. So yeah, it'll be a challenge, and I'm sure wherever we are now, there'll be a development and evolution of this team this season. No question, because that's how we work and that's how the players have been. They've really bought into the work that we're doing. So whether or not there is a positive response to how we finished last season away when we go to this weekend, who knows? I wouldn't want to preempt that, but what I hope is that we're able to give a good level of ourselves and try to come away with something.
Just looking at individual performances from Tuesday night against Millwall, Jibril Okadina coming on at right back. We know that's something that he's got in his locker, but he has been used more in central defence. He must have been really pleased with what he laid out on Tuesday.
Yeah, until he had a shot. He was very good actually. He played well. He got into good attacking positions, defended really well 1v1. We've obviously seen him and used him as a central defender more often than not. He's played a couple of times at right back. If I remember, his first ever start for us was at Oxford, I think, at right back in the Papa John's Trophy, if my memory serves me right. And then also he's played there at Lincoln last season, so it's been used sparingly, but Zeno can do it as well. We haven't seen that ourselves yet, but he's done that in the past. Even Brandon's done it at Portsmouth a number of times. So what we know is, in the event that George Williams isn't available, we've got others that can go there. So to use that and to give those players those experiences in these games is important. We didn't want to use George for 90 minutes on Tuesday. But pleased with Gibbs' start to the season, with where he's at the moment. He's in a good position, and pleased that he gives us that flexibility. I think that's something we've seen over the last 2 years. Having players that can play in a few positions has always paid off well for us.
Yeah, and with Lewis Simper, you've decided to have him part of your first team group. He'll have been delighted to get the start on Tuesday, and he has something different, doesn't he, with his skill set?
Yeah, he's a good footballer. Left-footed central midfield players, there's not so many of. He's got a nice passing range. He's got lots to improve, lots to do still, but he's in a really good position. He's had some good He's had some good games pre-season. He brings a nice control with the ball. Has got a good range of pass, and he's a player that we really like and think well of. So really pleased to see him as part of the squad. Just consider him one of the first team players now, and his aim for the season is to try and chalk up as many games as he can, similar to Ben last season really. Warman, we want the same sort of outcome for Lewis this season, and cup competitions is an obvious way of building those match minutes and experiences, but his task is to push to be ready to compete in the league team as well.
Yeah, you were talking about getting a loan for Ben Warman. Is that the case then? You see it as Lewis having hopped ahead of him in the pecking order? Is that more to do with positions and what's right for the squad as a whole?
Well, definitely Lewis is more of a central midfield player in a deeper position than Ben. Ben's better higher up the pitch. His position for us in central midfield has been very, very good when we've played with one deep one and two more advanced ones. I think away to Doncaster last year, away to Morecambe last year, he did brilliantly. So it's more of a natural position for Lewis to play in that two central midfield players than it is for Ben. And Ben's built really good momentum off the back of, like, we're always looking back at a period of the pandemic with young professionals, that they missed a lot of football in that period of time, and last year was an excellent one for Ben because he probably made 20 plus appearances in the first team, but in order for him to keep moving forwards he's got to keep playing, and he's not going to get at the moment that run of games with us. So Lewis can fill in and around those bits and pieces when the chances come up and get that experience with us, whilst Ben goes and gets a run of games somewhere. So the sooner we can sort that for him the better, because he needs to be playing in order to keep that development right, whereas Lewis just needs to be around us as often as possible and taking advantage of those game minutes. So development looks different for everyone, and everyone's plans different at different moments, but I think that's the right way for us at the moment and the right way for both of those boys.
Will Ben have some fairly good options, having played so much last season? I would guess there'd be clubs really interested.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, he's a good player. He's done really well. He can play in lots of different positions. So, I don't know, we're nowhere with that one at the moment. But Ben Strang will work with that and try and get something sorted as soon as we can. But we'd expect to have some good options. Hopefully, League Two, National League. If we can get a good level of football for him to play and play regularly, that could be really good for him.
Are you confident that Sam Smith will be all good for the weekend?
Oh, I hope so, yeah. I mean, it's 9:15 currently, so he's probably in with the physio at the moment. We've got about 6 players that need checking after midweek, so our prep work will have to take place Friday rather than Thursday, because we've got a few to see where we're at. We may have to make changes to the team, even if I didn't want to. I might have wanted to anyway, but with the fitness of a few, we've got to check in on quite a few actually between now and the weekend. So we'll see where we are come Friday afternoon as to which team we pick. But look, hopefully all those that have got knocks are able to play, but at the minute they walked away quite wounded on Tuesday.
Yeah, and presumably no great shakes. This is just what happens in a season. You know it's going to hit you at some point.
Oh yeah, I mean every single day. You ask the professionals that have been around it often how often they feel at their best. They'll tell you not very many days. So that's just the way it is. The physical game the other night, lots of knocks and dead legs. So that's why you have a squad. We'll have plenty of those throughout the season. But yeah, we're pleased with how everybody's shaping up, and we know that we're probably 4 to 6 weeks away from being at our best physically. So plenty of time yet to keep improving.
Cool, that's great for me.
In terms of any doubts in terms of Saturday? Do you have any?
Yeah, loads, but I'm not going to tell you who they are, I'm afraid. Yeah, so just quite a few little knocks from the weekend. But what we don't want to do is, it's not me not wanting to tell you, Stephen, or our supporters. I just don't want to tell Oxford, because who's fit and who isn't will have quite a big bearing on maybe how we play and which players are available. So we'll have to just wait and see next 24 hours how everybody shapes up, and hope that we've got everybody available, and I can make lots of them unhappy because they can't all get in the team. So that's the aim. Hopefully we get to that point come tomorrow.
You spoke about Lewis Simper there. Do you think he's going to get enough games with you this season as opposed to going out on loan?
Well, he's not going out on loan, so it's up to him whether he gets enough games. Really, that's the challenge. I think that's the best thing all the time, and you ride that line all the time between go out and play or come and try and make a career for yourself here. So you have to try and balance that all the time. And there was good periods of loan play last year where he had a lot of game time on loan, and now he needs to push to try and get as much of that with us as possible, because he's good enough to play in our team. So that's his challenge.
With Ben potentially going out on loan, does that affect your transfer plans in terms of any income?
No, we're really happy with the options that we've got. You know, currently we've got 4 central midfield players. We've got eight or 9 players in the attacking 4 positions. So that's plenty to be getting along with. So as long as everybody stays fit, we're really happy with the squad we got.
With Oxford, obviously, we spoke about how they've got a much bigger pitch. Is there anything you can do in terms of your preparation to prepare for that separately, or do you just have to learn by actually playing those type of games on those type of pitches?
No, exactly. Yeah, we have different size pitches at the training ground, but as you can see, some of them are out of action at the minute because it's pretty bald. So we've got our one training pitch that we're using at the moment. As and when we get to a chance, we'll have two that have various sizes, but we've got a lot of work going on some of them to try and recover them back and get them back. In the end, we just need rain. Like, we've had 8 weeks of no rain, and it looks like the next 3 or 4 is going to be the same. So we're desperate for some rain to try and liven the surfaces up a little bit. But the one we're working on is excellent. It's not as big as the one at Oxford, but yeah, in the end, you have to go with a mentality that you're just going to have to run a bit harder.
In terms of the development of this team as well, you've said there's a lot more to come, but how exciting is it that you're able to say that, but you're doing so well at the moment as well?
Well, we've won 2 games, so I don't put that as done so well. That's a heck of a lot of wins short of where we need to be. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm dull and not that excited as everybody else is. Everyone else should get excited that we've won the first league game, but there's 45 to go, so we know that we're miles away from where we're going to be, which should be the case at this stage of the season. If anyone's the finished article on day one, they've got the wrong players or the wrong team, or they're not going to help them get better. So we've got loads to do, loads to improve on. And yeah, where we could end up, who knows? That will be driven by the ambition of the players, the quality of our work as staff, and how we prepare those players, and the players' stamina and their motivation. So you can be motivated on day one, but you've got to have stamina in your motivation. It's got to last for 40 weeks. So that's the challenge for everybody, on the good and the bad days, and see what sort of team we can become. But we've already made some progress in pre-season, and hopefully we start to see more and more of that in the weeks ahead, because it's certainly going to get tested with some of the games we've got.